So many of y'all have been asking me lately about who is Marcus, right? Where did Marcus come from? Who is Marcus? How come you're often referencing this guy named Marcus? How come people are often in your comment sections talking about Marcus? Who is Marcus and all this stuff? People have been asking me about this. And for my day ones, you already know, right? But for mine that are just starting to, become well versed in the Good Doc's content, let me give you an explanation about the story of Marcus. Now, when I first moved to the country, started getting into my own, started dating a little bit and seeing what the country had to offer, one thing about me from Jump Street that I kept to myself is my actual name, right? Y'all know me as the Good Doc, Dr. Mike TV. My real name is Michael, right? But back then, all of my online dating profiles, if I ever met a girl on the street that didn't go to college with me or anybody outside of my daily life, I always told them that my name was Marcus. Now, that was just for privacy reasons. I just don't want people knowing my real name. I don't want people knowing my personal information. I just kind of remain secretive about that because, you don't want nobody trying to follow you or trying to figure out where you at and what you're doing and all this stuff. It was just something that mentally I said, Marcus is close to Michael, right? So it's not too far off, right? So it was easy to work with, right? But as time went on, let's just say that Marcus, the alter ego, became a person within a person, okay? And before the Good Doc found the Lord Jesus Christ and my wife, let's just say Marcus had a story of his own, ladies and gentlemen, and that man lived a life for a lot of different people, right? He lived his best life. That's the best way to keep it. Marcus was more or less an alter ego until the Good Doc settled down with the wife, right? That's pretty much it. So if you ever hear me reference Marcus, Marcus was the darker days of the Good Doc, Dr. Mike TV. The more fun days of the Good Doc, but the darker days nonetheless, all right? I say that jokingly because it was always good times. But in reality, that was the reason, or that was how I came up with my alter ego of Marcus. And I do encourage guys, be careful about what information you choose to put out there. Be careful about what information you choose to share with young ladies. Now, I came across an interesting post, right? And the question asked, are you okay with sharing your occupation, or would you be okay, or what would you think if a young lady in the Philippines, Filipino or a foreign young lady, asked you what your work was? What would be the first thing that you think of, right? Some people said, automatic gold digger. I don't know if it's something that came up in general conversation or whatever, but they said, what would be the first thing that come to mind if a young lady or a foreign young lady asked you, what's your job? Because now it does put you on the spot. You got two ways to go about it. Number one, you can lie, right? You can always lie, right? I don't encourage it, but you can always lie. Number two, you can always tell the truth. My job is XYZ 1, 2, 3. Right? At the time when I was in school and Marcus was who he was, Marcus was nothing more than a student a student studying abroad in a Philippine college, right? Now, let's just say that was the truth. Now, if you ask me where I went to college, I will tell you straight up, I went to Ateneo de Davao University. Now, I made sure that the girl I was talking to did not also go to that school as well, right? Ateneo de Davao University, if you guys aren't familiar, it's one of the more prestigious colleges. Ateneo in general is one of the more prestigious colleges in the Philippines. It's kind of like the Harvard of the Philippines, and De La Salle, you would probably say, is like the Yale version of the Philippines in reference to prestigious universities, right? So Ateneo de Davao University was nothing more than the Davao version of the prestigious school that was aforementioned. So I would tell people, I go to Ateneo, right? And it's not far-fetched because I'm a foreigner and a lot of foreign students go there. That's kind of the university that's, prominent amongst the elite, if you want to call that, in the country, or in the elite in a particular part of the Philippines. They all send their kids there. And as a black kid, foreign kid, it's not too far-fetched to say that you went there, right? And a lot of girls, they kind of, get a little wet in the panties if, you say you go to one of those good schools. But that was it. There was truth and lie and all of that, right? There was truth and lie. Yes, I was a foreign kid going to college. I didn't actually go to Ateneo de Davao University. But they didn't know that unless they fact check, right? And how many of them are really going to fact check? Because it's not really something that they going to go all out, to figure out. And if you do, and you find out, I didn't go there. Oh, my bad. That was last semester. I'm somewhere else or some shit. It don't matter. So when people start asking questions about your occupation, like I said, you can either lie or tell the truth, or you can tell a half truth. But a lot of guys are thinking, oh, if I tell them what my job is, chances are they're going to start saying or thinking in their head, okay, this guy's a teacher. Teacher salary in the United States on average is this. He works in the state of North Carolina as a teacher. They're going to start running the numbers in their head. And a lot of people are thinking that they're going to try to figure out how much money you make in a year. And to an extent, you have a lot of girls out there that would actually take that information and run with it. Right? If you're a truck driver, right? They know truck drivers make good money. They're not dumb. They know that there are a lot of good occupations out there, and they know for a fact that if you work in a certain industry, chances are, you're making good money. Now, I don't encourage you guys to lie, but I don't want you to, be hella truthful and come clean with everything, because to an extent, you don't know this person, right? How well do you know them if you just met them? So you have to have this sort of allure about you, some sort of secrecy about you. And I mean, don't act like you super secret agent, man. But you got to be able to keep some information to yourself, because if they know all of it, chances are, who knows if and when they could potentially use that against you. Okay? So if a girl comes up to you and they ask you, what you do for a living, or what's your occupation, my question, or I would ask them, what do they do first? Right? Like, ladies first. What do you do for a living? If they tell you, they're like, oh, that's cool. And if they ask you what you do, I would be as general and basic as humanly possible if you choose to do so, right? Even if you, for example, I own my own business, right? I own my own business. If you do, you know what I'm saying? They don't need to know exactly what the business is. It could be something they're just asking to basically get the basic general understanding of knowing who you are as an individual. If you're just having a conversation or you're going out on a date or whatever, you may come out, that may come out as a question. And I always tell my guys, you got to prepare how you're going to answer that question. Because at the end of the day, do you really want them to know the truth, and what they could do with that truth? Or is this something where you're like, you know what, man, it is what it is. I don't mind telling them, right? I drive trucks. I'm a teacher. And at this point, if somebody were to ask me, I wouldn't be too pressed about telling them that I just teach. I'm a teacher, right? Because a teacher is a basic job. Teach college level, elementary school, you can teach any level. They don't really need to know that. And a lot of the times, they don't really dig that deep. But I will be remiss if I didn't tell you that sometimes they run the numbers in their head. I would be remiss if I didn't tell you that sometimes they run the numbers in their head. Oh, teacher salary, the X amount per year. Okay, he's got money. Kind of puts you in a very tough predicament. So I would be interested to know if you guys in the comment section below, let me know. If a woman asked you what you did for a living, are you going to lie about it? Are you going to be truthful about it? Or how were you going to handle that situation? Are you going to try to flip it and just never answer the question? I mean, I'm curious to know if a young lady came up to you and you guys were talking and the conversation was just general and basic, but it came up and she asked you, what do you do for a living? Like, what's your job? How open would you be in sharing that particular information? You could always pull a Marcus. But at the end of the day, like I said, man, it's completely up to you, and I'm interested to hear. All right, this has been a good doc, man. Y'all take care. Y'all stay blessed. If you haven't gotten your IPA merch, links in the description area below. Good docs, good books, also linked in the description area below. Appreciate you locking in. It's been a good doc. Y'all take care. Y'all stay blessed, man. Doc is out. Peace.